Hello viewers and welcome. Racing GT4 cars around Autopolis track should be quite interesting, and we've got 10 laps with fuel saving, which we'll have to do a bunch of. Here we go, starting in P1 with pretty much the best qualifying lap with pretty much 5:10, so I'm pretty clear of the lead, but this race was quite unpredictable, as you will see. It was more of pain than anything else, because I kinda got knocked from rank B into lower things, so as the cars line up, the clock starts ticking and it slides out and away we go. Being the lead car, you can see, missing my shift, making a crucial mistake. This gives a massive advantage to the driver behind, so he's gonna take it and he's gonna go around the inside, being a little dirty on it, and I hit him by mistake, so he pushes me over into the sand, grass, and a little bit of drama. So now I decide, okay, maybe I should not quit. I want to preserve my sportsmanship ranks, so I keep driving, and a little bit of a mistake again, and I decide to call it quits, because I don't want to race with drivers like these. So we go into the next race, again starting in P1. This time the driver behind is much slower apparently than the driver there, so I'm a good 7/10 off the lead. But it's been getting late at night and I've been losing focus and losing a lot of energy. It's basic knowledge, you can't be on your best performance when you're fatigued. Anyway, as the cars line up, the clock starts ticking, it slides out and away we go. Being the lead car, I look behind to see what's going on behind me, and you can see the Alfa Romeo, which is, I have no idea what kind of car it is. I quite hate it because most of the Alfa drivers are quite dirty, and you can see they go above and beyond what is acceptable in what you call racing. Because if they see an obstacle, they're gonna push it away. Therefore, if you are the obstacle, you're getting pushed away. So that's why I do not vibe with Alfa Romeo drivers, especially if it's this classic Alfa Romeo, because every single driver, it's a stereotype and it's very accurate. So speaking from experience, I'm definitely not wrong. And you can see how heavily this Alfa Romeo driver is defending. This just proves my point of how they are willing to go above and beyond and how desperate they are for track position, and to the point where they would push you off in many occasions. As you can see, the last driver was an Alfa Romeo driver, so again, this just proves my point again. So with him building a bit of a gap and being quite faster than me again, I tried to push a little hard, and by pushing really hard, I've kind of made a little oopsie, which you will see right about now. I cooked the brakes and ended up with me going off. Decided that maybe I want to quit, and then I was like, maybe not. There's a bit to salvage to this race. So now I called it's a salvage race, because I do not want to lose my rank again from my previous retirement of the other race. And oh, believe me, this is my maybe sixth race for the day. I've had a lot of encounters with Alfa Romeo drivers, so I'm kind of pissed right now. So I just need to salvage this, not lose my rank, because you don't really want to lose your rank. Every other driver understands that. So you can see the Supra and the SLS driver had a bit of contact, which leads to the SLS driver being quite slow on the straight, which he could be fuel saving, I don't know. But he's quite slower than he should be, so it's kind of concerning. Anyway, we head into the end of sector 1, starting sector 2. You can see the cars, like 4 cars up ahead, getting quite close. I gave the Supra driver a little bit of a tap, telling him I'm there, which led to the other driver going off, which is quite questionable forms of racing, but you know, this kind of incidents happen all the time, so we move on. Now starting lap 3, made a bit of an oopsie, cooking the brakes a little bit and turning in a little earlier than he should have, making a tiny mistake, overcorrecting it and ending up for another oopsie. So now I've lost another position, which is very costly, and now I'm at threat of losing P5, which I've worked quite hard to get into P3, but we'll see what happens, because P5 is now attacking me really hard with the Alfa Romeo driver, which again have their reputation for their very nice and respectable driving. Being surprisingly clean, not causing any bit of issues. I give him a little tap on the bumper, nothing too major, and now we continue racing. I lost P5 and now I'm working back on getting P5. So we will see how stuff goes. So now I'm pretty much following the Alfa Romeo driver, which seems to be a little faster than me at the moment, but the gap is just decreasing. This is my sector, this is where I shine. You can see just how much the gap decreases and how much I just bring it quite close to him. And you can see we're all just getting quite close. He's getting close to the driver in P3, I'm getting close to him. Having to back down on multiple occasions to avoid hitting him, so I'll be sure I keep it nice and clean, because I do not want bad omen with Alfa Romeo drivers. I hang it around the outside and I'm quite faster than him, as my car is quite faster in these types of corners, the medium to high speed corners, which is quite interesting because this car is so nice and stable. It is one of my favorites, genuinely. It is really nice, but it's not as fast as the Supra, and the Supra is the fastest car, is usually the meta car, but I am just so comfortable driving this car. just feels like I'm at home. So this is why I always choose it when I can, where it's competitive. But if I'm not choosing this car, I tried the Ferrari on this track in a private test session, which it was not good. I did not like the Ferrari, which is kind of confusing, because I usually like the Ferrari. A small attempt from the Alpha driver to hang it around the inside, but that didn't go as planned. So now it gives me a bit of a buffer zone for a very technical and important section. So you need to maximize your exit on this corner because you got contact. That's what you have. So yeah, again, Alfa Romeo drivers proving that they're Alfa Romeo drivers by their nice and interesting tactics. So now I'm chasing him again in P5. So we'll see how stuff has to go, because I'm not gonna back down. Okay, he's pissed me off, and now I'm gonna have to do it, whether dirty or not, because I've had it with Alfa Romeo drivers. So now, approaching probably my favorite corner of the entire track, is quite an interesting braking zone, which is very different depending on the kind of fuel load and tire wear you have. But usually you could just brake later every single lap you do, because you know fuel is getting lighter. I do the overtake really nicely and making sure he's never getting me back, and he gets a 0.5 second penalty, which pretty much tells me he's not gonna get back. So now again, going through my favorite sector, chasing these cars, which are the Supra and the NSX of the drivers that I've had a bit of contact with. So apologies to the Supra drivers for hitting him on lap 1 or 2, but now you can see they're going side by side, which gives me the opportunity to get really nice, close and up and personal with the Honda NSX, which will be quite interesting, as it's going to be a three-way battle for P2 in this very technical section of the track. So I'll be quite Hamilton-like and hang around behind and wait for them to mess up, because this is what most drivers do actually. They're not used to do, they do that. So you can see them fighting, and I'm just letting them fight, and I'm backing down. And you can see Alfa Romeo driver again proving he's an Alfa driver by pushing the NSX driver or Supra driver out the way. So this gives me a bit of a buffer zone or breathing room, and I send it down the inside, keeping it nice and tight through this very long left-hander. And you can see overtaking the NSX perfectly and having also the straight line speed for the next upcoming corner. So now after overtaking the NSX, resting in P2 is pretty much game over. Now my goal is to try to catch up to P1, which is quite difficult because he's got quite the gap on me. Now skipping forward to the pit sequence, I quite don't realize you have to brake for the entrance, as there's a mini chicane, what I would call. So I was caught in a major slip up because I have zero experience on this track, and I have engine, fender, whatever kind of damage, just all kinds of damage. So now that's pain, but now we're gonna approach the pit stop, boys, which usually never fails me. And now refueling the car and changing the tires, you know, medium tires out, hard tires in, fuel holes in, you know, you're refueling the car, 2 laps in, that's all I need. And now I'm on my way out, but it looks interesting as George decides to not pit, which is going for the strategy where he goes on the hard tires and he's gonna fuel save all the way till the end. And it seems like that strategy worked for him, as I finished the race in P3. So going to the third race, by now you all know me, can't end the video on a loss, which I've done only twice. And I do not plan on making it 3 times. So starting in P2, I've got some sleep, you know, I've woken up fresh, nice and ready for action. We got the McLaren driver up ahead, which I've raced before, so it's gonna be quite interesting. As the lights go around, the cars line up, it lights out, and away we go, chasing the McLaren driver quite immediately. He's got weak acceleration compared to other cars, but my Nissan isn't any better on acceleration, it's just a tiny bit better, so I quite send it down the inside onto turn 1, perfect execution, perfect commitment. I send it down the inside like the goat I am, and it's pretty much game over for the McLaren driver, because I'm just gonna keep increasing my gap. So I make my way over to the pits, you know, getting ready, radioing the pit calls, telling the pit stop boys I'm coming in, this time making it nice and tight around the corner, braking perfectly, and I change the hard tires, but I forget to refuel, so yeah, it's pretty much me fuel saving like no tomorrow and trying to get it back to the pits ASAP, and it's a bunch of suffering. So you can look at the timing boards and I'm losing a good maybe 4 or 5 seconds a lap, and it's really slowing me down because fuel mode 6, you have to be insanely bad on fuel, which I am, to fuel mode 6 save. And I was like on maybe half a lap when I started the lap. So now back into the pits nice and tight again, you know. The pit stop boys getting ready to change my tires. Oh my lord, they changed the tires. I'm finally back out to track with 3 seconds to spare, finishing my race in P1 for the first time after so much struggling with maybe, I don't know, 10 races.